All right, all y'all. Thank you for hopping on tonight. And for those of you that are watching live and in person, you get the first humor. And for those that are watching recording, hopefully it's still funny. You've been invited to this by somebody that cares about you, loves you, and maybe some information that you guys are chatting about this might be helpful. A lot of us on here work with a company called LifeVantage. It's a nutritional company that focuses on what's called nutrigenomics and biohacking. And we do these Wellness Wednesdays together as a group to hopefully give people information that'll help them make better decisions in their health and their wellness. And so I'm Dr. Brett Brimhall. I'm a chiropractor here in the Phoenix area. I'm excited to spend a little time with you tonight. And what we're going to focus on tonight is a question that people ask me all the time. Should I take supplements? Why should I? Do I really need them? Which ones do I need? Things of that nature. This is common questions that people ask me all the time. And the bottom line is that people are looking for answers. They're looking for answers to improve their health and their wellness. And everybody's spending money somewhere trying to accomplish that. Now, a couple of things that I like to tell people is the most expensive supplement is the one that doesn't work. Just like the most expensive therapy is the one that doesn't work. Just like the most expensive automobile is the one that's not working, right? And so when it comes back to looking at supplements and what your goal is what you want to accomplish because of it. I saw an individual today, and he's young, and him and his wife came in, and they're looking for solutions for problems they've had for probably 6 or 7 years. And he's only like 24 years old. Right. And it's not that he wasn't going to physicians and specialties and stuff like that, is that they were looking at it differently. So I'm going to give you a few ways of maybe looking at things differently. All right. So dietary supplements, right? Why do we need them, or do we need them? Right. The simple thing is this depends on what you want. Right. So a supplement is typically taken in order to address a deficiency. So a deficiency could be a vitamin, a mineral, or things like that. And so you think of a deficiency, we think of that, well, that's when it created a disease. Well, back in the olden days, when the disease was one, it was like rickets, which means your bones don't work. So you'd have to have a severe deficiency, right, in a vitamin or mineral to actually make your bones bow. Well, I don't even want to be there. So I want you to move from a deficiency to an optimization, right? And what I mean by that is, let's take one vitamin for specific, which is vitamin D. So vitamin D is necessary for bone health. It's required for immune health. It's helpful. It helps your immune health. Excuse me, I said that. It helps your hormone health. So it's critical that you have vitamin D for a lot of different things in your brain function. All right. You get it, right? You get it from sunlight. You get it from fish. So you get it from these different sources from your diet. All right. So there's what's called a deficiency and an optimal level. So I want you to think of like you're in school, all right? And you can, in a school, and there's a couple teachers on here, there's an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F, or an incomplete. All right, so you can pass the class with a D minus. It doesn't mean you did really well in the class. So if I'm your physician and I got a D minus, so I show up to class sometimes, are you okay with that? So when it comes to vitamin D, the range is 20 to 100. That's the normal. So do you want to be optimal, or do you want to be a D minus when it comes to your bone health, your brain health, your hormone health, right? And this is just one common vitamin. And so I see all the time people come in and their labs they're below 20, so they're deficient, all right? But optimal in my world would be around 85, because I don't want to just be okay. I want to be great. And if we're just looking at bone health, osteoporosis, which is bone loss, or osteopenia, which is like less bone loss, doesn't show up until we're like a lot of times 50, 60, 70, or 80. So what you're doing in your 20s, 30s, and 40s when it comes to optimization of your nutrients is important. So in my opinion, that relates back to every vitamin or mineral that you're taking. So why are people so deficient? Well, because they're sad and they eat sadly. What I mean by it is standard American diet is known as the SAD diet, SAD. So what that means is a sad diet can create sad people. So when we have an improvement in people's nutrients, they have better behavior, they have better attitudes, and they have better functionality. All right, so eating a SAD diet, a standard American diet, is going to make your body sad. All right, so what's the standard American diet? Well, it's a hamburger and French fries, right? So if you're eating a standard American diet, you're going to have deficiencies, right? So you'll need vitamins, in my opinion, vitamins and minerals based upon what you're trying to accomplish and also based upon your diet. So the better you eat, the more real foods you eat, the better nutrient status you'll have, right? That's just how it works. So the only way your body gets things to repair you that you break down is from what you eat. So what you're eating matters. And so if you like to be alive, you got to eat live foods, right? So I'm gonna see if I can show you this just to give you a rough idea, okay? So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. And if this participates well, then I will be able to show this to you. All right, so come on, kids. So this right here, oh, snap. It may not. Dang it.
We can see it.
Well, I'm trying to show you something else that wasn't the one I wanted to show. You know, this is what happens when you let a doctor mess with technology. Okay, so anyway, I'll come back to this in a second. So every part of your body is made up of things, and vitamins and minerals. If you're not getting it from your diet, for instance, like vitamin E comes from fish, it comes from certain foods. People talk, well, whole milk, right, has vitamin D in it. So you get it from your foods. So the more live foods you have, the more alive you'll be. All right, so if you eat most of your food from a live source, so basically if you can hunt it, if you can grow it, you can pick it, then you should eat it, right? But if it comes in a box, a bag, or a can, in order to reside in a box, a bag, and a can, it has to have preservatives in it. So if you want to embalm yourself early, you eat lots of things from a box, a bag, and a can, right? And so all that determines like how healthy you are, and also what vitamins and mineral deficiencies you have. On top of that, our foods are deficient because of the soils they're grown under. So you're gonna find a lot of times, if you look at where your foods came from, they're grown on a field that's been grown on for decades. And that means there not being a lot of minerals coming out of that soil. So what they do is they pump certain minerals back in the soil, and ask the farmers, they'll tell you this, when you go to fertilize your lawn, they're only putting in certain things like iron and nitrogen, phosphorus, things of that nature to give good yields, but it's not giving you the simple minerals like zinc, which is required for thyroid function, molybdenum, which is required for detoxification and liver function, manganese, which is critical for bone, and boron, which is critical for bone and detoxing certain radioactive metals out of your body. So if you aren't getting a diet rich in good whole foods, you're not gonna have them. And I really don't think in this day and age that you can do it with dietary supplements, without dietary supplements. I just don't think it's possible. Okay, one, because of how we drive ourselves, and two, even with vitamin D, like I live in Arizona, so I should not be low on vitamin D. But I would say probably 80% of my life, I live indoors, right? So most jobs are indoor jobs anymore, so you're not getting it from the sunlight. And I'm also white, if you guys didn't notice, I'm super white, right? So what that means is my body genetically, because of where my ancestry is from, doesn't make great vitamin D from sunlight, right? So that's why from a Northern European descent where I'm from, most of them got their vitamin D from fish, right? So your body's genetics matter in regards to that. So in my opinion, everybody needs to be on vitamins and minerals. The question is which ones, all right? So for me personally, right, it's gonna be the ones, a good solid multi, right? Your vitamin D, your B vitamins, your vitamin A, your vitamin K, right? All that has to be there, all right? But there's what's called supplements and there's what's called activators. So what that is supplements are the things that are deficient, okay? So in my mind, a supplement is kind of like the ingredients to make something. Right, so if I want to make a casserole, or okay, Thanksgiving's coming up, right? I want to make a green bean casserole, right? I need certain ingredients there, okay? But what if I just threw all those ingredients into a pan and I set them there? Would it really be a green bean casserole? No, not even close. Or let's just do apple pie. Well, why not, right? What if I threw all the ingredients of apple pie into a bowl and I said, okay, I got my apple pie. Would it be an apple pie? No. All right, because what happens, you have to have the ingredients and then you have to do something to them. You have to combine them in specific ratios, amounts, and quantities, and you have to do it in the right steps. and then you have to bake it for the right period of time with the right temperature, not too hot, not too cold, in order to get the result that you want. Okay, so there are dietary supplements, which are the ingredients you need to basically make things, whether it's bone or muscles or ligaments. And then you need things to activate the cell responses. So at LifeVantage, we talk about those types of things, right? That actually are a combination of certain nutrients that are kind of like turning the oven on, a mixer that blends things up, right? All those things are what they call activators. So there's the difference. And so you can ask other questions about that. But the bottom line is, I want to tell you some things to look for when you're going to buy dietary supplements. So this picture I threw up here, right? Because I wanted you to see that most people are buying things from somewhere. And this thing right here disqualifies Amazon, because Amazon's the number one. And you know, Amazon tells you 100% of the truth 100% of the time, because they really care about you. All right. Okay, whatever, right? But why are you trusting Amazon? Right? Why are we trusting Amazon? I don't know, okay? But you want to find some resources you know, you like, and you trust, right? Please do that for yourself, because this is your health. Like, this is what's going to allow you, just like I was talking to this lady today, she hasn't felt good in 20 years. She just wants to be able to participate in life with her kids, right? And she's wondering how she can afford about $50 worth of nutrients. And in my mind, it blows my mind, because being sick is expensive. Not only expensive financially, expensive emotionally, because you can't do the things that you want to do, right? So when you look at your dietary supplements, you can get them from lots of different places. There's things I want you to look for when you're doing that. One, please, hopefully know the person that recommends them, and maybe their background, or maybe, okay, where the companies come from. Here's some things that I would look for if I was just gonna go shopping around for supplements. Okay, number one, FDA regulated, not approved, because dietary supplements aren't approved, but they're regulated, right? So people ask, well, is that FDA approved? Well, personally, I don't want the FDA approving anything, right? I don't trust them personally. But what I'm saying is they're regulated. So, which means there's a standard of how things are produced. So, for instance, with LifeVantage, and most companies, you have to test every 5 batches of raw ingredients before you make a product. That's the standard. So the companies that I use, LifeVantage included, and a couple other ones that I use, they test every single batch of ingredients that come in before they make their product. That's a higher standard than the FDA requires. So I look for that. All right, I look for pharmaceutical grade, which means there's a different standard for pharmaceutical grade than supplement grade. All right, I look at the company's background. In other words, what kind of scrutiny are they under? So if it's produced for physicians and physicians' offices, there's a different level of scrutiny. When you're dealing with a publicly traded company, there's a different level of scrutiny that goes on when they're producing a product. So look at those particular things when you're looking at what supplement that you want. And also, just like Amazon, look at the reviews. Great, that's fine. Look at the reviews, but hopefully you know real people that are sharing real stories and doing things like we are, which is trying to educate the population, right? To try to give you some things to look for, so that you make sure that whatever you're taking is getting the results you want. The last thing I want to cover real quick here is, which ones do I take? It depends on what you're looking for. All right. So if you're taking something for a symptom you're having, you have a system that's struggling. So if you're having a symptom already, you're already past the point of deficiency. Not deficiency of disease, I didn't say that, but a deficiency in functionality. All right. So you want to have just enough to get by. I hear this all the time. Well, you're just making expensive urine. You know what? I'd rather pee out a few cents than have an organ cut out. I'm just sorry, I would. All right. So there's a big difference between having deficiency and optimization, right? And from what I understand, the whole you're just having expensive urine. Guys, we eat food all the time, too much of it, and we poop it out too, right? And all I mean by that, that's a horrible excuse when somebody says you're just making expensive urine. Well, you probably shouldn't, probably ate a little too much food too. So I guess you should cut back on that. Right. So it's a bad excuse in my world. But I want you to take the highest quality supplements that is within your budget. But understand your budget changes based upon priorities. Right. So just how much is your health worth each and every day? Talk to somebody that's been really, really sick. right? And they'll tell you that their budget for health and wellness is much different. But whatever yours is, whether it's, whether it's $50 a month or whether it's, $500 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever it is, take the highest quality, supplements and nutrients and see the physicians that you can to get what you want. All right, that's truly something I want. So hopefully that helped boil it down to just some things to look for, and ask good questions. And people ask all the time, well, should I ask my physician? Yeah, sure, ask your physician. But if your physician has never brought up a vitamin and mineral to you before and a recommendation to you about taking a particular supplement, I'm not sure I care about their opinion. And I don't mean that mean. I really don't. But if they're not saying, hey, you know what are you eating? What vitamins, minerals you're taking, then they probably don't. They probably haven't studied a whole lot of how that affects it, right? But if you go to a vet and you talk to the vet will always ask, hey, what have they been eating? What have you changed? So if you're not getting those type of questions when you see a physician based upon a struggle you're having, we probably need to kind of ourselves do some homework on that. So hopefully that's helpful. Please take the highest quality nutrients you can. Change your diet. And what I mean by that is this. I told this person today, say, you know what? You'll need less vitamins and minerals the better your diet is. And I looked straight in his eyes. I said, and I hope you don't change your diet because I will make a lot more money on you if you don't. Now, I said that because I want them to say, well, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna change my diet. And that's what I want. Like, I want them to take ownership of their health. So anyway, so we're gonna stop the recording now. And so for those of you watching the replay, hopefully this is helpful. Pass it along. Like, we wanna help people wake up and really take control of their health and wellness because we need to take ownership. That's how it works. And please reach out to the person that invited you to take a look at this. If you have other questions, get with them. And we'll stop the recording now, Eileen, to talk about even more things related to this and what you can do to make sure you're taking the right things.